Hello everybody, I am Fuzzyface and welcome back at long last to another career on Motorsport Manager. It's been quite some time since I last posted a video. I'm not quite sure how long it's been. It might even be over a year. I'm not even sure how long it's been. Due to some family issues, I had to take some time off, and basically I was getting a little bit peed off with this game. Every time we sort of got any traction going into a career, it would crash. PlaySport would bring out a patch, it would make the game crash, the games would become unrecoverable, whether that was to do with using some mods from outside the Steam Workshop to change things like track names and things like that, whether that was having any effect on what was happening. But it's all in the past now. Hopefully this game is not going to be disrupted in any way. We're using one mod and one mod only, and that is from the Steam Workshop. It is, I think it's only just been released. It's called the F1 Manager 2018 F1/IndyCar/WEC mod. It does have all the IndyCar teams in there, Indy Lights and the WEC series in there as well. But we're going to be concentrating on Formula 1. If you read the description, we are going to be getting in to a Williams save. This time we're going to be trying to get the Williams team back up to their heady heights of the 80s and 90s. Can we get a driver in the vein of Keke Rosberg, Mansell Hill, Jacques Villeneuve? Can we have a driver that will get us a drivers' championship? Can we win the constructors' championship? I think it's going to be a pretty hard task. Anyway, we're going to call ourselves Williams here. Should we just call ourselves Williams, heir apparent to the Williams racing empire? Let's just make up a date of birth here. I'm not even bothered. We won't even change this. I don't want to be an ex-driver because that gives us better feedback ratings. I don't want to be helped. Maybe we'll just go engineer. Yeah, because we will want a little bit of help as we go along. We're going to jump in and choose a team in the single-seater series. With this game, basically the GT series has become the IndyCar series, so it doesn't quite work the same as the F1. I think it will use the GT. Well, of course it will. It'll use the GT way of setting up the car. But we're going to jump into Formula 1 here. Basically, this mod as well, if you see all the background, the cars in the background and the different videos and stuff like that, that is all part of this mod as well. So we've got all the basic teams here. We see Sauber, Toro Rosso even listed as the worst teams in the list, but not the worst team overall. As you can see, the Williams team, the worst car, the worst drivers with Stroll and Sorokin. As we can see, the Toro Rosso car is quite a bit better. Even the Sauber car's a little bit better with that Ferrari engine in there. We will have the Mercedes engine, so it should be decently rated. So we shouldn't have to work on the engine too soon, but we're going to jump in and just see what we need to do with this Williams team from the start here. Just before we go any further, we're going to jump into the preferences. On the game settings, we are running medium career session lengths, we are running the realistic race strategy difficulty, and the AI driver level is going to be set at 3. 4 makes things a little bit unrealistically hard. From my tests, I did a game with Renault at 4. It was really hard. We had the Renaults finishing like 14th, even 15th and 18th sometimes in qualifying. So 3 should be there or thereabouts for the Williams. I don't want this game to be too easy, so we'll just jump straight into the mail before we do anything else. We've got all the usual emails in here, and if you've played this game before, you will notice that there's no 3-stage qualifying or battery ERS listed here. I've taken those out of the game. I don't think the 3-stage qualifying works at all in this game. There are some races in this season where you could have just no stopped at all in the pits, and it was given like you could win. The computers, the Sauber cars were winning. Even on long races, the Sauber cars were winning from the back of the grid. We're going to accept 10th here. The battery as well, I don't think that works at all either. I just don't like the way it works in the game. And the only other thing changed from the mod is the current rules. You do start off with the Cortez tyres if you download the mod, but you can go ahead and have changed the rules for it to be the Brutus tyres. That's just to make pit stops happen a bit more often. because as I said, you were able to get through the entire race without doing a pit stop on some of these races. So that's changed, and basically with the 3-stage qualifying gone as well, that means the cars in the top 10 are free to choose any tyre compound that they want to start the race on, which makes it a little bit harder. It means the teams 11 to 20, the drivers 11 to 20, haven't got an unfair advantage as regards to strategy, because it meant a lot of the teams in the bottom 10 were finishing really high up, and you'd end up with the Mercedes sometimes below 11th, which isn't realistic. Introduction to the pit crew, we've got it. We'll just have a quick look at the pit crew. We will have the best pit crew since Will Williams, a 1.5 second pit stop. We'll just see if there's anyone to hire here. Ox Toby is pretty decent, as decent backup. We'll hire him. One thing to say is you do start off with really high budgets here in this game. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start upgrading the few bits that we need. We need a test track to work on the engine. We might as well get going on a few of these bits. We're going to upgrade the factory as well, which will take it up to level 4. Maybe we'll leave it there for this season, other than going ahead and getting the forecasting centre built up as well. So we'll take a quick look at the drivers. We've got Sergei Sorokin rated at 3 stars, Lance Stroll just under 3 stars. Both of these guys should be paid drivers. They are. Lance Stroll is a paid driver as well. So even though Robert Kubica is the better driver, only just rated is a 3.5 star rated driver here, the near 2 million that these two guys bring in is what we do need this season. As you can see, without those in the team, we will be losing money per race, because basically the way the sponsors work in this mod as well, you do just get one upfront payment. There's no real bonuses for the races, it's just one big upfront race. And we do have Martini leaving at the end of the season. That was something else I changed in this mod as well, because Martini, I think, were set to 3 seasons we would have had to remain with Martini here. We do have the option of changing them, because hopefully at the end of this season we can go ahead and change a colour scheme. We can get away from the Martini colour scheme. Let's just see who else we can get. 3.5 million from these two just for one season away. It's listed for 21 races, because as well, that's the other thing that I changed with the mod. I did shorten the season, because a lot of the races were doubled. You do 21 races with the mod. I took out some of the double races. I did add the oval track at the end of the season, just to see what that would be like in Formula 1. But we've got pretty much the normal calendar, other than the races that aren't covered by Motorsport Manager. So drivers is done. We're going to go see what we can upgrade. As we can see, the engine is pretty decent. We have the 5th best overall engine. Force India in 3rd with that Mercedes engine. Haas in 4th with that Ferrari engine. So what I was thinking of doing is, during the calendar, I am only allowed to introduce upgrades at certain races, so it will probably be every 4. So we're going to go with Tondela, which is the equivalent of the Spanish Grand Prix. We can start introducing Aero packages, new Aero packages from that point, and then from every 4th race from then on. So maybe Tondela, the Spanish Grand Prix, the equivalent, we can introduce Aero upgrades from. Then Vancouver, Canada, we can start introducing engine upgrades from that point, like the engine, gearbox and things like that. And then from every 4 races from then, so after that it will be Milan, then it will be Phoenix, and whatever we were done by at Phoenix then we had to make last to the end of the season. So I think that's the direction that we're going to be going in. It will be Aero packages we can introduce from Tondela, engine packages we can introduce from Vancouver, and then Milan, as we said, Phoenix, and then that's it until the end of the season. So we're going to go ahead and start on upgrading our Aero package. We can get a plus 25 to max. Risky, we're not going to do any risky parts. What can we do after that? A plus 30 as well. So we're going to go ahead and build this front wing to start with. It's going to be ready, but obviously we can't start to introduce any of these parts until Tondela. So let's just see what needs doing here. We're going to go ahead and leave the rear wing, I think. I don't know whether we're going to be able to upgrade all these parts enough. Just one there. So everything's alright in Lance Stroll's car. Sergei's got a few unreliable parts, so we're going to go ahead and work on his car. We'll keep it like that, yeah. And we can upgrade as well. So we'll do the gearbox, engine, because these are the parts we're not going to be working on just yet. We'll leave these two alone, so we're going to just upgrade these couple of parts, the engine, the gearbox and the suspension in each car, and we're going to try and get the car as reliable as possible. These 6 parts will be ready 8 days after the race at 100%. So I think pretty much that is it for the start here. Staff, we do have Paddy Lowe there, Rob Smedley, Dave Robson. There's no point changing any of these guys. Finances, we're making $1.5 million. So let's just skip ahead. We're going to get this new front wing built before this weekend. We're going to have the press conference coming up as well, although we just answer the same pretty much every time for the press conference. Accept the interview. We'll say we're going to surprise. Oh, that's upset. That's upset the drivers. We'll say we're lucky enough to inherit 2 drivers. We'll say the prediction seems fair. That keeps everyone there. You've been a legendary engineer in the pit lane for years now. Any advantages? We'll just say that. Nothing happens there either. So let's just skip ahead. This front wing is now going to be built. Where does that put us? It hasn't made that much of a dent. Obviously, we're not going to put that in the car just yet. So we're not even going to start working on it in the garage just yet. So we've got a plus 40 there. It adds 2 days on. And can we build these after? There's another 20 that we could gain there as well with the part after this. So we're going to go ahead and build that one as well. It can get up to an 806. Which, how much of an improvement is that already? If we can get up to an 806 with the front wing, it's almost 100 points higher than the front wing that we've got at the moment. So that is going to be quite a decent improvement once we can introduce that for the Portuguese Grand Prix in Tondela. Someone complaining about the wind tunnel. Sergio Sorokin looks to have launched a fashion line or something like that. Paddy Lowe wants a new wind tunnel built. Sergei Sorokin launches a cookbook. Fitness -5, marketability +25. All the drivers in this are pretty marketable anyway. So that has knocked his fitness down to 11. How long is that going to last? Where's the 14 weeks his fitness is going to be down. So that is basically just what we didn't want. So we're going to jump into the Sydney Grand Prix, which is the equivalent of Melbourne, Australia. None of these really make a difference, so what should we go for? The lowest one, and we're not even going to be hitting second for this Martini, so choose the tyres. We'll take quite a few super soft compound, medium, that should be enough. So as usual, if you've watched any of my videos before, we will be skipping over practice and qualifying. We will be back when it's time for the race, and we'll go over what happened in qualifying and everything like that in a minute. So here we are with the grid for the 2018 Sydney Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel on the front row of the grid, separated by only 2/100th of a second. So Mercedes and Ferrari really close as they are in real life this season. On the second row of the grid we have Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo in the 2 Red Bulls, securing the second row of the grid there ahead of Valtteri Bottas and Kimi Räikkönen. Behind them in 5th and 6th. Not too much difference between the top 6 cars there. Then on the 4th row of the grid we have the Haas of Kevin Magnussen, followed by Fernando Alonso doing pretty well in 8th in the McLaren. The 5th row of the grid, rounding out the top 10, we have Sergio Perez and Esteban Ocon in the 2 Force Indias, doing pretty well there, ahead of the Renault of Nico Hülkenberg, the second Haas of Romain Grosjean there in 12th place. And then we see Stoffel Van Dorn in the second McLaren in 13th, Charles Leclerc doing pretty well in the Sauber up into 14th. Then we have Carlos Sainz in 15th and Pierre Gasly in the Toro Rosso 16th. Then we see our first car, Lance Stroll, in 17th, almost a second behind the leaders, and he is followed by Brendan Hartley 18th in the second Toro Rosso. And then we have Marcus Ericsson in the Sauber, and rounding out the grid we have our Russian Sergei Sorokin all the way in 20th place. So it's going to be a hard, long slog this season, so hopefully we can get something going in the race. We've got split strategies for both our cars. Stroll is starting out on the soft, Sorokin's starting out on the medium. Whether we're going to try one stop this race, whether we can actually make that happen or not is another question. But here we go with the start of the race. We're going to concentrate on Stroll since he's a little bit further forward. He's on the softer compound tyre, so he should be, and Sorokin's getting held up by the Toro Rosso there of Brendan Hartley and Pierre Gasly. Stroll is upper place. He's managed to jump past Charles Leclerc, who's made an absolute nightmare of a start. But there we see Hartley coming back as well. Stroll diving down the inside of quite a few cars, gets himself all the way up into 11th. That's Kimi Räikkönen as well that he makes the pass on up into the points place, up into 10th, and he gets past Nico Hülkenberg as well, and down the outside of Verstappen. Can't make that stick. Räikkönen now right on his tail. Sorokin meanwhile has managed to get himself into 18th. He's ahead of the Sauber of Charles Leclerc. Pierre Gasly in last place. Stroll meanwhile is up there. Who's that in front? That's Ericsson, who's also made a really good start, but Stroll starting to drop back now as these other cars start coming up. It's just a shame that the only livery that doesn't seem to translate through to the races is the Williams one. Every other livery seems to match up quite well and actually come through to the race. Just the Williams one seems to go white and black for some reason during the race. So let's speed this thing up a little bit. 10th place here. You'll have to excuse me, I've got a little bit of a cold at the moment. Not the best day to have started coming back. But Stroll, meanwhile, battling with Ericsson. Let's just see what a couple of these other cars are doing. They're starting to reserve their tyres, which we sort of want to do. The tyres are going to get cold, but we do sort of want to try and one-stop this race to finish as high up as we can. The main aim this season is to avoid relegation down to Formula 2, which is still active in these series. So that is the main aim here. We don't want to drop down. We shouldn't get fired if that does happen, but it is a worst case scenario. Lance Stroll now outside of the points. Nico Hulkenberg in the stronger Renault car manages to get past him. Stroll meanwhile lapping at 133.3, 133.3 as well for Sorokin. So both these drivers matching each other. Sorokin though in a lot of traffic. He manages to get past the Sauber. Yeah, that's a Haas all the way at the back. It looks pretty similar to our car. I think that's the only other one that's not quite matched up with the livery, but Sorokin doing well. We've got the McLaren of Van Dorn all the way back. Magnussen though gets ahead. He's on the faster compound, the softer compound tyre, so he should be faster. Hopefully our strategy should work over a couple of these teams. A little bit higher up because we've got a couple on Perez and Magnussen on the super stuff. So it's just Magnussen sort of out of position here. He dropped, I think he started 7th, did he? Was he up in 7th? He's dropped a long way down the order, as Charles Leclerc. They've dropped down. Don't actually tell us how far they've dropped down, does it? No, it doesn't. It tells us how long they have gone. Yeah, so let's speed it up to times 4 here. Stroll currently doing really well in 11th place. He's got Brendan Hartley behind him. He's doing a 132.8. Hartley is quicker at the moment, 133.1 for Sorokin. Sorokin does a 132.6 there. Hartley's starting to slow down. We're not really going to conserve fuel. We'll try and knock it up to 1 lap under, then we can start recovering from that point. Sorokin meanwhile under pressure from Perez, who's dropped down the order as well in the Force India. Looks like Perez is going to be able to get past him in the stronger Force India car. Can Sorokin hold on to 17th place? He can't. So we're going to go back to Stroll, who's got a little bit of a gap before him. Back second either side. Back to 12th place to Roman Grosjean behind him. Ooh, can Stroll keep this going? This would be a really good result if we can finish on 11th to 13th. That will go a long way to securing our place above the top, above bottom place. I guess we're sort of going to be battling with Sauber and Toro Rosso. We do want to try and get some points on the board at some point this season to try and solidify our status in Formula 1 for next season. That is the only aim. So things starting to cool down here a little bit. Sorokin just behind Perez here, so we're going to go up to times 12 for a little bit here, see what happens. Stroll is getting on the back of Marcus Ericsson now. Should we give him the opportunity to try and get past here? It's going to wear away his tyres, but he's in the dirty air, although it doesn't really matter in this game. He's under pressure as well from Roman Grosjean, and we're going to turn him down. We're going to stick to the strategy. We won't try and risk things to try and get past cars when we needlessly don't need to do that. We don't want to go ahead mess up the strategy here. We do want to get to the head. The tyres are really cold, but to one stop we don't seem to be losing much performance. We're doing the 132.6. We're not losing any real performance over the other cars. We're lapping 131.5s there though, but I'm guessing the AI cars are all running in medium, in neutral driving styles, so their tyres must be underheated as well. So we're just going to leave it there for Sorokin. I don't want to change it up for Lance Stroll. We could try to stop with him. Don't know whether the AI cars are going to do that. We'll have to see what these guys do, and it will give us a good indication of what the computer's going to be doing for their stops. So Stroll currently doing really well in 11th. He's managing to hold off the Haas and McLarens. He's got a Force in Perez coming back. Sorokin meanwhile manages to get himself up into 16th place. He's ahead of a Toro Rosso, a Renault, and we're getting some cars coming into the pits now. Magnussen has come out onto medium tyres, which can do about 16 laps for a new fresh pair. So he might be able to just get to the end. He's going to be really struggling towards the end of the race. We're hoping to get Sorokin. I do have to. We could, with Sorokin in the game, there's no limitation on what you can use, but we're going to use 2 tyre compounds. That is one of the rules I'm setting myself, so we could go medium and ensure that we do manage to one-stop this race, but I am going to force myself to use 2 tyre compounds throughout this career, so we do have to get to the soft. So Sorokin needs to do about another 6 laps on this tyre. He's done 9 at the moment. He should be able to get to the 16 to do that. Stroll, meanwhile, he needs to do another 2 laps on this tyre. He's getting to the point where this tyre is going to start to fade away, so he might even have to change up his strategy, because he's sort of on the limit here. His soft tyre is sort of wearing away. Soft tyre, the softest compound degrades, falls away at around 25% to 20%. The one under that is around 15%, whereas a 10% even sometimes you can get to, whereas a medium can go threadbare. It can get down to 0 before it starts to really lose its performance. So we're going to try do one more lap with Lance Stroll here. We're going to push on this tyre now, because he's going to start coming into the pits. 16 to 18 laps here we should be able to do so, and we will be able to do a really fast pit stop. So hopefully this is going to be Stroll's one and only pit stop of the race. We've got a Mercedes in front of Lewis Hamilton, who's leading the race effectively here. He's made his one pit stop. What has happened on Lewis Hamilton there? He started his run wide on the corner as Lewis Hamilton. And get back to Hamilton here. What's happened to him? His tyres sparking? What is that? I've never seen a tyre spark like that before. Is that his front wings gone? Something drastically bad has happened to Hamilton there, which puts Vettel effectively in the lead of this race. So, a shocker there for Hamilton. Mercedes looking to have reliability problems early in the season as we're approaching the midway point of the race. Lance Stroll about to make his first pit stop here. He's going to be coming to the pits. So where are we going to feed back out of the pits? 16th. That is Lewis coming into the pits as well in 19th. One lap after making his pit stop, he's making another one. Lance Stroll feeds back out into 18th. So, pit lane here is at about 20 seconds for this one, so 14th. So he's battling Brendan Hartley here, who was battling before. So we do want to try, we don't really want to let his tyres run down though either. So we're going to have to go with that. Maybe we'll go overtake mode. We're going to try sort of the undercut. Try and stay ahead of Brendan Hartley here. Sorokin, meanwhile, 9th place. He's just tootling along, just minding his own business. He's got a couple of the quicker cars coming up on him. He's trying to hold off Carlos Sainz here, who is on a medium as well. His medium tyre is a little bit further down. He's on 29%. Sorokin's done a good job at keeping his at 37. So maybe we can go ahead and push, although we do need him to get to. He's got a couple more laps to do. We want to go with 11 laps to go, so maybe about 4 more laps for Sorokin. So we're just going to hang on to this medium tyre. Maybe we should start pushing a little bit. I think the medium, if it still works the way it used to, the medium can get down to 0. We're starting to hold up a couple of the quicker cars as Ricciardo, Bottas and Verstappen are starting to come through now. We're just sort of holding them up at the moment. Although Ricciardo looks like he's going to start to make this move past. Stroll, meanwhile, 10 laps to 11 laps to start recovering this. Have we seen Hartley come into the pits? No, we haven't, but we're still holding off that little gap. We're hoping that Hartley's going to start coming into the pits anytime now. Is he going to dive into the pits this lap? Looks like he's going to be going another lap on that medium tyre, so maybe we can start looking after the fuel now. Hopefully stay ahead as we see, and that is Sorokin's managed to stay ahead of Alonso here as well, so Sorokin looks to have moved up the order a little bit. Looks like all the AI teams are going to be one stopping in this race as well. Just need a couple more laps out of this for Sorokin. I think he can do it. We can take this down to 0%, so he can go quite a while. I don't think we can stretch it far enough to get him onto the super soft for the end of the race. No, I don't think that's going to be an option here. Stroll, though, meanwhile, 10 seconds behind Raikkonen. He's ahead of Magnussen in the Haas. What can Lance Stroll do here? He's starting to struggle a bit with tyre wear. Is Sorokin? It's down at 24%, but we know we can drop this off. He's still in the 131.4s, no real, and he sets the quickest last sector there on worn tyres. So as we can see, we're not really losing any lap time. We'll just keep an eye on it here, so it will give me some technical data going later on into the season, how far we can run these mediums down. It's been a while since I've actually paid attention to this side of the game. So let's just see, a 131.4, tyres worn down a little bit more, we go to a 131.5. So let's just see what they do here, because Sirotkin's not going to finish in the points, so we can just sort of do what we want to with him, just sort of use him to be the scapegoat here. Lance Stroll, meanwhile, as Hartley's been into the pits and he's 3 seconds behind, so we're holding him off. He's coming for a softer compound tyre, so he might be able to get past Lance Stroll as this race goes on, but those tyres are going to be starting to struggle by the end of the race. Sirotkin, meanwhile, 7th place here, he did a 131.4, so he sped up from the last lap actually as well, so 131.4, 15% these medium tyres now. What are they going to be at as we come around? And nope, we jump up a 131, so he's gone even quicker as the track starts to get more grip on it, but a 131, obviously he's not being held up by anyone. So let's just see it, at 13%, is he going to go any quicker at 131? And the quickest last sector there as well. We've still got the quicker cars coming up. Bottas still behind him here. I think this is going to be, no, we might have to get him in because he's getting down to the 10% now. Although he's still, look at that, he's still not any slower. It's 2 tenths down on his quickest lap. Right, so we're going to get him in. 12 laps he can do. We might be able to push towards the end of the race. The front wing's starting to go a little bit. So let's just see where Sirotkin can feed back out into this. It's going to be pretty close to Stroll. He should be 35 seconds, so he should be coming out ahead of Hamilton still. Got a Renault in behind. Are we going to be out ahead of Hamilton? Yes, we are. So up into 15th for Sirotkin. Stroll is 11th. No more pit stops left. I don't think we've got any chance of catching the Haas. So we're going to be outside the points. There's no real points finish available to us here. Can Stroll stay ahead of the Renault? It looks like Sainz might need to pit again. These super softs will wear away, so we're basically battling Hartley and Magnussen in the Toro Rosso. Sainz's tyres are going to fall away towards the end of the race. Sirotkin, meanwhile, is on fresher, softer tyres, so can he push a little bit, although he's going to have to start going back on this fuel. We might need to go into low fuel mode on the last couple of laps for him. We've got Lewis Hamilton behind, who's obviously going to get past, although his tyres are worn. He went for another pair of super softs, so he might even need to pit before the end of the race as well. So Lance Stroll 11th, he's starting to struggle against some of these other cars that are lining up behind him. Brendan Hartley, Kevin Magnussen, his own teammate Sergei Sirotkin. So let's just speed this up. And there, a massive jump. Hartley, that's Bottas making his 2nd pit stop. So Mercedes seemingly struggling in this first race of the season. Bottas there. So Stroll 13th, Sirotkin 15th. No, he's just been overtaken by Sainz. No, that's Hulkenberg. Sainz is... Where's Sainz gone? No, he's up into 9th. So 13th and 16th. It's not too bad at the moment. Can we just hold on to these places? Tyres getting cold as Stroll 54%. Can he make it if we push him a little bit? No one's really pushing onto it. As we can see, we've got cars conserving. They must be on really cold tyres. We might have a couple of others. Hamilton might need to pit again, although I think he'll try to stretch it out. Magnussen's tyres wearing away. So basically 13th and 15th, we might be able to pick up a few more places. We might even lose a couple. Hulkenberg's coming back strong again. We've got a Ferrari as well. Raikkonen seemingly having problems down in 16th, so we've got a couple of places to lose here. I don't think we're going to be able to hold Raikkonen off unless Sirotkin can do a really good job of hooking Kimi up here. Can we even get past Hulkenberg? Doesn't look like it. But Raikkonen just really struggling to get past him. His really powerful Ferrari. His Mercedes engine doing its job in the Williams, and there Raikkonen finally gets released past Sirotkin. Stroll up into 12th. He must have moved up again. Hamilton, as we said, has made that final and 3rd pit stop. So he's really off the pace today. Bottas, the only Mercedes in the points. We've got up in front, we've got the Red Bull of Ricciardo out in front, 4 seconds over. Fernando Alonso doing an amazing job in the McLaren. The Force India as well, although he gets passed into the podium place by Sebastian Vettel, who's made 2 pit stops as well. So a lot of these quicker teams, the top teams, still going for the super soft strategy here, which is the thing I try to avoid by getting rid of the 3-stage qualifying. But if that's how it's going to be, that's how it's going to be. Lance Stroll under pressure from Kimi. Kimi finally gets released. Kimi now has a hard job of chasing down the Toro Rosso of Hartley and the Haas of Magnussen to get back up into the points. But a 13th position result is not too bad for Lance Stroll or Sirotkin here in 15th. Basically what we need to be doing is avoiding 19th and 20th. This car is so bad at the moment. I don't know quite how far behind we are of the Saubers or the Toro Rossos, but then it's a big massive step up to the Force India, I would guess, and even further on than that, the Haas's, and yeah, so it's going to be quite hard catching up. But 13th place is nothing to laugh at. The fuel is getting back to nearly there. Is Sorokin going to be able to recover this fuel? He's not under pressure for anyone here other than Perez, who's 2 seconds behind. Is Perez lapping quicker at the moment? He is over a second quicker, so Perez looks like he's going to be catching us towards the end of the race. Let's push this tyre. It looks like we can actually push on this tyre. We've got a little bit of life left in it. Stroll, meanwhile, has been pushing. He's managing to keep Hulkenberg at bay. We're going to be able to use high fuel mode for the last lap to keep him at bay. No, Hulkenberg is going to get past, is he? No, he doesn't. Stroll makes a good defensive job there. But our two Williams really close together here as we go into the final few laps of the race. Ricciardo coming around. There's 2 laps left after this. Fernando Alonso under pressure. So Hulkenberg has got past Stroll here, so I don't think any of our cars are really under pressure. So Perez is possibly going to catch us. So we're going to see if Alonso can hold on to second place over Sebastian Vettel here. Oh, Van Dorn is in the pit, so it looks like we're going to pick up a place. Stroll moves back into 12th, Sorokin up into 13th. So this is going to be a really good finishing position for us, 12 and 13, if we can hold on to it. Perez's tyres are sort of wearing away. We can go into high mode here. We've got 1 lap coming up left. Oh, it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight for that last lap, but I think we're going to recover it in time. So it looks like we're going to be able to hold on to 12th and 13th, so let's concentrate on this battle. It looks like Ocon's tyres are going. Verstappen's are going. Can Alonso hold on? He's doing 129.3. Vettel lapping slower than him at the moment. So it looks like Alonso is going to hold on to this second place. We watch Ricciardo come over the line. We'll watch Alonso finishing second. Behind him there, Vettel finishes second. So let's go back to our cars now as we come around the last final corners. Perez has dropped away. Van Dorn on these super softs, lapping quickly towards the end of the race. He did on 142. Obviously that is his pit stop. Is he going to be able to get past? He does. He gets past Sorokin. He's not going to get past Stroll. Stroll finishes in 12th, a 14th for Sorokin. Not a bad start to the season there, considering where we are at with the team, the quality of the drivers. 12th and 14th keeps us off bottom place. We should be around 8th place. We've got both, not just one Force India below us. We've got a Mercedes below us. We've got a Renault below us. We've got a Haas below us. Toro Rosso. It's going to be a toss-up here. Toro Rosso actually scored points in that first race. So we see Brendan Hartley and Sauber scored points as well. So that is bad news for us going forward. Yeah, saying 12th and 14th wasn't a bad finish there, but as we can see, the Sauber and the Toro Rosso actually did finish in the points. Just look, we did a... what's that, a 1.7 overall. What was Lance's pit stop then? Did he have a mistake? A 3.7. It looks like he had a mistake on the tyres, didn't he? So that put him a little bit further down, but I don't think we were going to get into the points. So at some point this season, we are going to need to pick up points. So as you can see, Renault are not going to stay pointless with Hulkenberg and Sainz. Toro Rosso have picked up 2 points. Sauber have picked up 4 points. So at some point now, I was hoping that they wouldn't score points, and if they did, it wouldn't be this early in the season. Hopefully this is not going to be a regular thing of them scoring points. Otherwise we're going to be in 10th for a very long time. Oh, it's going to be pretty close going into the end of the season. So maybe at some point, quicker than I was expecting, we're going to have to forego the money that Stroll and Sorokin are bringing into the team and bring Kubica forward. Would that be possible? Will the upgrades that we can make in Tondela and then in Canada, will they make a difference to the car? Will we start performing better then? Can we pick up things next time in Bahrain? $1.5 million coming into the team. We've got a lot of money there. Maybe work on the HQ a little bit more, but Ricciardo winning at the moment after one race. Red Bull 35, McLaren second, Mercedes way off the pace in 5th. So points are definitely going to be needed, and we can see Jack Aitken won in Formula 2, Nicholas Latifi 3rd, Luca Giotto, George Russell 4th, Maximilian Gunther in 5th, Alexander Albon in 6th. So could we be seeing art in Formula 1 next season? And we see Formula 3, Callum Ilott, Marina Sato, Marcus Armstrong, Jerry Phipps. If you remember back to the Fuzzy Face Racing Series, we had him in the car. So it looks like Art are winning there. So if Art do really well here and the other Art do pretty well, we might see 2 Art teams in Formula 1 since promotions and relegations are a thing here. Just check the scouting on the pit crew. No real improvements there. This other front wing is built, which we can get up to an 806. So we'll just go ahead and... No, we don't want to look at the engine just yet. We're going to get this other front wing built. 25 plus 40, and then this one plus 40 minus 20 gets us to an 826 on the grate. And we can actually build an epic part at the moment, so we can add another 60 onto this as well, so we can get a pretty decent front wing done. Been quite lucky with the tree for the front wing. I'm not sure whether the other trees for any of the other parts are going to be as good. Sometimes you look out, sometimes you don't, and there's not too much performance upgrades that you can go without going for some risky parts. But Hamilton pips at Vettel to pole, car condition, interview. After his win today, we were wondering if you had any thoughts. I would say we'd love to have Ricciardo at the team. It will say he will join the team, but obviously that is too far-fetched to try and bring him in. But we do have the option if we wanted to. He would actually join the team. But anyway, we've got Doha Bahrain Grand Prix coming up in 10 days' time. It should be all sunny for that one. Practice qualifying, a little bit of cloud for the race. It's 28 laps, medium tyre wear, high fuel burn. Top speed is useful, so it's going to be another track that we struggle at, as the engine is the only good part of this car that we got. Top speed crucial. We might be a little bit better here, but Doha, it looks like we might be struggling again. But anyway, that is it. Hopefully I can sort of do this regularly. I'm not sure how close together updates will be. It might not be every day. Maybe I can get back to it every day, but hopefully I don't burn myself out. Hopefully this game doesn't crash, but hopefully we should be back now for the foreseeable future with this Williams save. Hopefully as this season goes on we can start picking up some points here and there to avoid relegation to Formula 2. But anyway, that is it. We will be back next time, hopefully tomorrow, maybe the day after that, for the Doha Grand Prix. But anyway, hopefully everyone has enjoyed returning to this series. If you want to, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Thanks to everyone who has stayed subscribed through my hiatus. But anyway, that is it for this episode of Motorsport Manager, the Williams resurrection, the resurrection of Williams. But until next time, I'll see you down the road in Doha, and until then, goodbye.